Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about baby essentials, specifically 6 to 9 month baby essentials. A lot of you guys have been asking me to do an updated baby essentials video. So now that Jackson is almost 10 months old, we've definitely had like some time to use the things that I'm going to talk to you guys about today. So I'm going to try to keep it pretty short and sweet. I've written down like 15 things here on my phone that I think are the things that we've been using the most in these months. So let's just go ahead and get started. If you guys are new here, by the way, first of all, welcome. My name is Kayla. I am a mom of 2. I have Jackson, who is my almost 10-month-old son, and then Riley is my toddler, who is about to be 3. So my hands are definitely full. We've got a lot going on, and I like to share a lot of it here on YouTube. So if you guys are looking for new mamas to follow, you need a new mom friend, I would love for you guys to hit that red subscribe button. I share a lot of vlogs and just hopefully helpful information for you guys. So I would love for you guys to stick around. So now let's just go ahead and hop into the essentials. So for the 6 to 9 month range, I feel like a lot of the things that we used a ton of had to do with feeding, because like at the 6-month mark is when we started giving Jackson like some rice cereal, and then I think we graduated to like oatmeal cereal, and then at 7 months we started the baby-led weaning and he started feeding himself some stuff. This time period, at least for us, was when Jackson started to eat more solids, and we were definitely doing more feeding as opposed to just the nursing or the formula like you do when they're a little younger. So the first thing on my list are the silicone bibs. We have been using those bibs non-stop. We use them every single day, and we use them even to this day with Riley, who, like I said, is almost 3. So those bibs are great for a lot of different reasons. First of all, they're very easy to clean, because whether you're giving them solids or purees or whatnot, like they're gonna get very messy, so they're very easy to clean. And then because they have that little pouch at the bottom, if they're feeding themselves some foods, it does catch that food. So those have always been really helpful. We love them. The next thing on my list are the sticky bowls. So the sticky bowls, we use a lot of these a few months too. We did want to give Jackson the opportunity to feed himself sometimes, and the last thing that I wanted to do is like put a regular bowl on his tray and then have him just like knock it all over and, you know, just have stuff all over the floor. We bought a couple different ones. We have some plates that I just bought on Amazon, and everything that I talk about, by the way, I'm going to leave link down below in the description box. You guys can check out that box, and as many things as I can find, I'll link there for you guys in case you want to purchase them. So we got those from Amazon. They're really cute. I've shown you them before, like the duck one and the pig one that we use for both of the kids. And then for Jackson in particular, we also got the easy peasy mat that has like a bowl, and that one was great because it sticks right onto his high chair tray, and then he can feed himself, and I don't have to worry so much about him just like flinging his food all over the floor. The next thing that we've been using a lot in the same sense of like feeding and stuff are the utensils that I bought for Jackson. So I bought Jackson utensils that I never bought for Riley. So with Riley, I used other brands, and I didn't really like them as much as the ones that I got for Jackson this time around. The ones that we got are from a brand called Bumpkins, and I love them because they're really short and they're just like easy for him to grab. Like Jackson's been using the spoon for like a couple months now, and because they're like so short and easy to maneuver, it just makes it easier for him to get them in his mouth. So we haven't really used the fork one yet, but we have been using the spoon. They come in a bunch of different colors too. We have like a pretty gray one, but they come in a bunch of different colors, and those have just been super helpful in terms of like him feeding himself. I guess we'll kind of like stick to like stuff that I could find in the kitchen. So the other thing that has been an essential this month are cups, because Jackson has now started to use like sippy cups, and we've been introducing water to his diet. The doctor said that he should be drinking some water at this point. So we've tried a bunch of different cups. At first he was just using a little sippy cup. Right now he's graduated to using the little munchkin ones with the handles that have a straw. So this little orange one is great because it does have a straw, but then it also has like a little lid so that the straw isn't always out in the open. So I really like that. We picked that one up at Target, but Amazon has them too. If your baby's not there yet though with like the whole straw usage, there's still a bunch of other cups that you can find. You can try the little transition nipple ones. We have a couple from Nook that look like a regular bottle, but they have a transition nipple, so it's more like a sippy cup. There's also 360 cups, so we've used those in the past with Riley, and I did try a few times for Jackson to use those. So I feel like during the 6 to 9 month point is like when you're starting to experiment with cups and trying to figure out what they're going to respond the best to. Don't be afraid to try a couple different ones. Cups for the most part are not super expensive, and at the end of the day, Jackson actually prefers just to drink out of my cup, but I know that there's times when I'm gonna want to put a glass in front of him and I don't want him to spill it everywhere. So having a cup that he can drink out of without making a mess is definitely helpful. The next couple things on my list are kind of like food related. They're kind of like foods for 6 to 9 month old babies. So the first ones are the teething crackers, and if you guys have never seen these are a great option for little ones. My favorite brand of these are Happiest Baby. They're organic, and they're little crackers that like your baby can just kind of gnaw on, and they go disintegrating, and so they're great for when they're teething, hence why they're called like teething crackers or teething wafers. It's also a great way to just entertain them while they're sitting in their high chair. When we first started baby-led weaning with Jackson, that was one of my favorite things to give him because I didn't so much have to worry about it being a choking hazard, and it was also a great thing that you could use to like spread other stuff on. I would take the little teething cracker and I would put like a tiny little layer of like mashed avocado on it, or some almond butter or peanut butter. So that's one of those things that I just like to always have on hand. They're easy to throw in your diaper bag too if you're on the go. So we really like those teething crackers. And then of course the puffs that I'm sure you guys have heard of by now. I remember Riley back in the day used to like take fistfuls of puffs and just shove them in her cheeks and her entire mouth, and she would just go to town on puffs all day long. Jackson's not quite there yet, like where I let him walk around with a little snack cup and a bunch of puffs, but when I do want to entertain him on his high chair, that's something that I'll put on his high chair, and he'll kind of just use his little pincer grip and just feed himself those. Using those puffs is actually how I got him to practice and to work on the skill of like picking up little tiny pieces. So a lot of you guys have asked me like, how did you get him to pick up his chicken or his rice and stuff? And very early on in the baby-led weaning process, I started putting those little puffs on his high chair and just like showing him how to pick them up. And at first it was like a hot mess, and he'd drop them and he couldn't quite get them in his mouth, and he'd miss his mouth entirely. But over time he started to learn how to pick them up and put them in his mouth. So most babies do tend to like how they taste, but they're also a great way to practice that skill of feeding themselves. I also use those a ton in the car because you guys know, if you follow along on my channel, we've been doing a bunch of road trips and going back and forth from Virginia to Miami and all of that. And when we're in the car and he's having a fit, puffs are definitely the way to go. I give him one at a time, he eats them, he's happy. So if you don't have any in your pantry, I highly recommend that you get some. I do like the Happiest Baby ones. Gerber also has some organic ones, so they have a bunch of different brands of them that you guys can look into, but we always have a bunch of them on hand because both of the kids love them. And then the very last thing in like the food kitchen kind of category are like pouches. So we've used pouches like in the last 3 months for Jackson as far as snacks go. So even though we were doing like the baby-led weaning stuff, I had no problem giving Jackson one of those prepackaged pouches and giving that to him as an easy snack. Those are really great for when you're busy, and like they even have breakfast ones that have like oatmeal in them. And I know that a lot of you guys will say, oh well, they're prepackaged and they're processed and it's better if you make it yourself. Yes, it's probably better if you make it yourself, but I understand also, and I'm pretty realistic in the sense that not everybody has time to make food from scratch every single time. What's more important is that your baby is fed and that you keep your baby healthy and happy and alive. And so pouches from the grocery store are not the worst thing for your babies. If you do like to make your own foods, and I'm not opposed to making my own foods, I've shown you guys before in other videos like baby foods that I've made from scratch, and I make like sweet potato mash or sweet potato puree. I've made apple puree from scratch and all of that. So if you're into that, they do sell reusable pouches that you can buy on Amazon, and you can fill them with your own baby food, and then you can give them to your baby, and it's a way that they can feed themselves the puree without making a mess everywhere. So that's something that you might want to look into if you are making your own baby foods, you know, for on the go. If you want to put it in your diaper bag, make a bunch of food and just prep them in the little pouches, and then they're ready to go. Okay, I lied. One more thing in the kitchen area, I promise. So it's his high chair. I've been sharing everything that we've been using to feed him, and that's because a lot of our day these days consists of him sitting in his high chair. So at this point, we're giving Jackson 3 meals a day. And even like back when he was like 7 months old, when we just started the solids and all of that, we would still sit him down in his high chair like maybe 2 or 3 times a day and introduce foods to him, whether he decided to eat them or not. We were trying to expose him to new textures and to new things that he was seeing on his tray. So the high chair is one of those things that we use all the time. And the high chair that we have back home, I'm obsessed with. I still love it. A lot of you guys have been asking me for an update on it. I did a full review of it here on this channel, so I will link it down below in case you guys want to check it out. The reason why I like the chair so much is because it's kind of like I think it's a 7-in-1 chair. Like there's different positions that you can put the chair in, and what I like most about it is that it turns into like a little bumble seat. So sometimes like if I'm over by the couch and I don't feel like dragging the entire like high chair with me to that spot, I can literally just like take it out and move it to the floor by the couch and just sit down on the floor and feed him with the tray intact and everything. So I like the versatility of it. I like that it's easy to clean. The one downside about the high chair is that the tray is sometimes a little bit difficult to like take out. Sometimes I wish that I could take it out with like one hand because I'm carrying Jackson in the other hand, and it is a little bit heavy. So that would be like the one drawback to the high chair. But it's got a really pretty design. I've been really happy with it. It does have like the little top tray that you can take out to clean. So whenever Jackson's done eating, I can take the little top tray off really quickly. It's like a little thin layer, and I can wash that while he's still sitting in the high chair and he's got some kind of tray in front of him. So it's got a great design, a small footprint. It's really easy to clean, and I've been really happy with it. So a high chair, at least for us, would definitely fit into the 6 to 9 month essentials category. And now we'll move on to some other things. I feel like the entire day really like we're spending in the kitchen, and I'm feeding either Jackson or Riley or both of them at the same time all day long. Like, is that just me? Is that also you guys? Because I feel like we spend a lot more time in the kitchen these days. But moving on, some of our other essentials at this point are sleepers. Sleepers have been an essential since birth, like because both of my children have spent pretty much their entire lives in sleepers. We really don't go out much, so Jackson is in his pajamas like all the time. But what I will tell you is an essential for me in this moment are the sleepers, but the sleepers with the zipper and like the double zipper, like the two-sided zipper. Am I explaining that correctly? But the zippers that will zip from up here to the bottom and then also from the bottom to the top. If you guys have used them before, then you know what I'm talking about. But I like the ones that have the zipper where you can just unzip the leg and take your baby's feet out through there, because Jackson is at a point right now where it's impossible to change him, okay? I put him down anywhere to change him and he's literally flipping in like 2 seconds, and he doesn't want to stay anywhere that I put him. And so it's like me wrestling a tiny human every time that I try to change his diaper. So the faster I can do that and finish the process, the better. And when he's in those little zipper pajamas with the zipper at the bottom, like by his feet, it's easy because I can just unzip that, take the leg out, take the other leg out, and then change his diaper and put him back in. So I love those sleepers. I found a couple of them on Amazon, and when I buy sleepers, I like to look for the ones that aren't like, I don't know, like $15 per sleeper. So I have found a few good deals on Amazon, and those will also be linked down below. But yeah, I know I can't be the only one. It's just a struggle to change these babies as they get a little older. Something else that we've been using a ton of lately for Jackson is like a coconut oil cream, because Jackson has very sensitive skin and he has a bit of eczema. So whenever we're done bathing him, we try to kind of lather his legs up, and especially like his legs and his arms too, because he gets like these rough patches. And so I really like this cream. My mom actually had it here at her house, and then I stole it when we went back to Virginia. But it's a really rich cream and it's got the coconut oil in it. It's a very clean formula, and we use it on both of the kids. But I feel like ever since Jackson got to the point where he started crawling more, like between the 6 to 9 month mark, he started crawling more. He was spending more time all over the floor, and I feel like that sometimes has irritated his skin, and so we've been using it a lot more these months. So that's something that I highly recommend. If you guys have other recommendations for like sensitive skin, eczema, I'm always happy to hear those, so leave them down below in the comments, because from time to time I have to kind of see if there's anything else that works for that. So something else that happens during the 6 to 9 month mark is your babies start driving you crazy with their teething. So teethers have been an essential for us. We have a bunch of different teethers that we've used with Jackson. Right now, some of his favorites are like, I have like a carrot one, like literally like from Easter, that he loves to chew on. And so what I'll do with that one is I'll throw it in the refrigerator, make it nice and cold, and then I'll take it out when I want to offer it to him. We have that. We've gotten a couple other itsy ritzy ones that I've shared with you guys in the past, and those are like little cactus ones. They're really cute. We do the same thing. We put them in the fridge. We have a ton of different teethers because I'm constantly rotating them out. We also have Sophie the giraffe, which has been a staple in our household ever since Riley started teething. So Jackson now, as soon as I started to notice that he was teething all the time and he was putting everything in his mouth, I went on Amazon and I bought him his own Sophie. So that's a really good teether. He also has a bunch of like Ryan and Rose pacifiers and also some teethers. And Jackson never took a pacifier, but he does teeth on the pacifiers. Like he uses them as teethers. So those are really good because the material is great for teething. So I'll pop some of those in the fridge from time to time too, and he uses those as teethers throughout the day. Something else that he's been using a lot lately is his little walker. So we are trying to practice the whole walking situation with Jackson. He will pull himself up on things. So he'll pull himself up on the side of the couch and even on the walker itself, but we're not quite at the point where he's taking like a bunch of steps back and forth, but we are practicing it. So I feel like around this time is when it's nice to introduce a walker and to start getting them used to, you know, moving those muscles and getting up off the ground. So we have a walker. It's the same one that we used for Riley, and there's some cheap ones on Amazon. Like there are some that are very beautiful and very expensive, but like if that doesn't fit your budget, like there's some very affordable options out there. Something else that Jackson has been loving these past few months are textured books. So we have a bunch of different books in the house. Some of them are old from Riley and some of them I've bought new for Jackson, but the ones that are his favorite are like the little textured ones, and specifically the Never Touch a Porcupine or Never Touch a Dinosaur series. Like they have a whole bunch of different ones, the Never Touch a brand. Those are really great. They're not super expensive, and what I like about them is just that they are very sensory. They have a lot of different things that they can touch and feel, and they're very bright and they're very exciting books to read, and Riley to this day loves to read them, so we stock up on those. They even have them like at Sam's, maybe even Costco. Like my dad went this morning to Sam's and he bought one for Jackson. Most stores carry them, but you can also order them on Amazon, and I've done that a bunch in the past. I actually actually ordered one for Jackson that he will be getting for his birthday. His birthday's in December. But yeah, we love those. Any books that are just sensory, things that have flaps, things that have things that they can touch. We're really big fans of those like textured and sensory books. And then probably his other favorite toy at the moment is that little spinner toy that I've shown you guys a bunch of. It's the one that Riley used to play with at Gymboree, the one that has like the stick and then all the things that spin. He uses that nonstop and he loves it. We did leave it at home right now, like I'm at my parents' house and we left it in Virginia because I wanted to give him a chance to play with like some other toys because he had been using that all the time. But it's still one of his favorite toys, and I feel like that's the kind of toy that grows with them. So a baby as young as 6 months will like that, and Riley even still likes that at almost 3 years old. So it was always a hit at Gymboree. The kids would literally fight over this toy. So as soon as I started to see how much Riley used to love to play with that at Gymboree, I went and I bought it for her, and now Jackson has stolen it and he's obsessed with it. I'll link that one for you guys. That's probably one of the toys that you guys ask me about the most often, but I'll also include a couple clips of some of his other favorite toys, like his little rainbow fish. He loves that one. He plays with a ton. And then of course we have the Love Every block set that was really originally for Riley, but Jackson will still play with it. So any kind of like little wooden block set. The Love Every set is very expensive, but I've told you guys in the past, like we've had it for a really long time now and the kids still play with it. But if that's like out of your price range, any other like wooden block set on Amazon, I'll try to find some more affordable options for you guys and link them down below. At this point they start kind of being interested in like stacking things and knocking things over and like putting things in baskets. So like if you have the blocks out and you have a little basket, they'll likely start to grab the little blocks and put them in the basket. So you want to have like some activities like that aren't like super complicated, that you can easily lay out for them just to kind of keep them entertained. So those are some of his favorites right now. And then I feel like it wouldn't be an essentials list of mine if I didn't include the baby carrier, because Jackson and I have just spent a lot of time with him in the baby carrier on top of me, because the child always wants to be on top of me, okay? And around this time they start dealing with like separation anxiety and they want to be on top of you all the time. They start teething and they're very clingy and they just literally never want you to like have a break or leave them at all. So having some kind of baby carrier, even though they're not teeny tiny newborns, it's still very helpful to have something that you can throw on yourself and then put your baby in and then walk around the house, get other things done. On those days when Jackson is super clingy, it really helps to be able to say, okay, you know what, I still have other things that I've got to do, so I'm gonna put you in the carrier and then I can kind of move around the house, because he's also getting heavy and you know it's kind of hard to spend the entire day with the baby in your arms or on your hip. Like that gets uncomfortable. So a carrier is still something that I highly recommend at this age if you haven't gotten one for your little one before. The one that I have definitely grows with your baby and I highly recommend it. It's the one that I've used the most with both of my kids. It's very comfortable, it's breathable, and it literally takes 2 seconds to put on. So that will forever be my all-time favorite baby carrier, and believe me, I've gotten full use out of that thing. And then the last thing that I would consider a baby essential for 6 to 9 months is the diaper bag. And I know that the diaper bag is something that, you know, is like on any newborn essentials video, but I feel like at the 6 to 9 month mark, usually absent a global pandemic and the whole COVID situation, I feel like once your kids are like 6 to 9 months, that's probably when you're starting to go out more. You feel a little bit more comfortable with taking them places and you start going on more walks and taking them to the park. And I don't know, I feel like 6 to 9 months is really when I started to feel more comfortable like going places with like Riley back in the day. So while you may not have used your diaper bag a whole lot before the 6 to 9 month mark, I feel like now you're gonna start to use it more. The one that I have is the Fawn Design bag and I love it. I feel like it's the most like expensive feeling one that I have. Like I have a couple different ones and I feel like it's the most luxurious one. It's super cute. It fits a ton of stuff because I have to carry stuff for both of the kids. So I do have a discount code for that one. I'll leave it down below in the description box. I want to say that it gets you 20% off the bag, so it's a fairly decent price for a really nice high-end diaper bag. So definitely look into that one if you're still on the hunt for a good bag. And then the last couple things are things that like we've been using for a while, but I don't know, I feel like between the 6 to 9 month mark, we've used them even more. Like Jackson's sound machine, we always had the Hatch sound machine for him, but when he turned 6 months old is when we transitioned him into his own room. So we started like the whole sleep training process, and I documented all of that here on my channel in case you guys are starting to flirt with the idea of sleep training and, you know, just getting your nights back and not feeling like a zombie. I have videos on that I'll leave linked down below. But because we moved into his room, now the sound machine was even more important because we wanted to set up his sleep environment and all of that. So that we use every day, and then also the monitor. That kind of goes hand in hand. So now that he's in his own room, his monitor has now traveled to his room, and we use that all the time to make sure that we can keep an eye on him while he's sleeping. A lot of you guys are always asking me which double monitor we use, like dual monitor, is that how you say it? Whatever. But since we have 2 kids, kids, I want to keep an eye on both of them. And so the dual monitor that we have, I will link it down below. I don't think I have it here with me, only because when we're at my parents' house, I have like 2 different monitors for them because my mom has one, whatever. It's a long story, but the dual monitor that I have at home, I love. It's the Motorola one. I'm able to see both of them with split screen, and I highly recommend it. So if you guys need a dual monitor, I'll link that one for you guys. And I feel like that is it. Like the only other thing that I could possibly mention to you guys for this age range would be like the Love Every kits. They're not an essential. It's not something that you need to have, and I know that they can be expensive because it's like a subscription service, but it's very cool. Like they send you new toys every, I think it's every 2 months when they're like smaller. So we've been really fortunate to work with them a few times, and they've sent me the play kits, and those are great because like they send you developmentally appropriate toys, and Riley loves them, and so does Jackson. Like the toys that they've sent for Jackson before, Jackson has played with them like all the time. So I feel like they're not the kind of toys that like they play with once and then they get bored and they never play with them again. They're meant to like meet the kids where they're at developmentally, and then like work on specific skills that they should be working on at that point. So like if you don't know much about, you know, how to entertain your baby, and you don't know what toys to get them, that's something that you can look into, and then that way you know every couple months they're getting a new play kit and they can work on new skills. So I'll leave that link down below too. Again, not an essential, right? Like your baby will survive without it, but that's just like a nice to have kind of thing. And that's like the same with like most of the things on these essentials list. Like I know that essentially what your baby needs is what, like diapers and wipes and food to live, and like a lot of these things are extras, but those are the things that I would say we use the most of lately. So I hope that that helps if you guys are starting to see your babies growing and doing new things. And you know, it's super exciting when you start seeing them hit all these new milestones, but with like every age range they start doing more and more things, and sometimes they need new products to kind of help them with the things that they're working on right now. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. If you guys have any other like 6 to 9 month baby essentials of your own, leave them down below in the comments, because I always like to read through those to see if like there's something that I haven't ever heard of or something that I should try out. That's it. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.